Welcome, everyone, to episode 323 of Just Joshing. I am your host, Joshua Pentelaresco. I write stuff in podcast 2. Today, Brad Anderson joins the podcast. Brad, I was recommended to talk to Brad through Hayden and Liz. They obviously publish him and his works through their press bundren, and Brad's a cool dude. We had a really fun little chat about life, the universe, and everything, as we always do on this show. And yeah, like I said, it was fun. I really, really enjoyed meeting him and chatting with him. I think you guys will too. But yesterday was all about the cupcakes. It was really all about the cupcakes. Yesterday, I decided to put on my social media feed, killing people via cupcakes. I gotta say that one of the most interesting things about being an author is people are okay if you murdering them in your prose. They're just okay with it. It's one of those like strange things. It's like, who wants to die in my book? Oh, me, pick me, kill me. It's like, really? This, but people have fun with it. So, it started off as one little scene, like as a getaway scene for a giant cupcake of evil. Yes, I did come up with a giant cupcake of evil. Is now a big giant homage to Miss Pac-Man. So I hope people like it. I really, really do. All right, let's get to our conversation today, shall we?
Think you have what it takes to survive? Then get your ass to Mars. Get Your Ass to Mars is the latest simulation sensation courtesy of Indie Imprint. You are pitted against the hostile nature of Mars. Can you survive and pave the way for future colonists? Or will you succumb to the many pitfalls and obstacles in your way? Get Your Ass to Mars, the Dragon Edition, is available now on PC and Steam. Go to indieimprint.com for more details.
Okay.
Bring it on.
So, the recorder is officially on. So if you got anything incriminating you'd like to say, make it good.
You betcha. If I do anything incriminating, I'll make it fantastic.
Yeah, that's right. You should. After all, for two reasons. Number one, it's much more entertaining when you confess that kind of stuff later on. They're entertaining stories, assuming you live or aren't in jail, one or the other.
If you're gonna go big.
Yeah, exactly. That's the other thing too. I mean, if you're gonna, don't damn yourself with the faintest of praise. Just go for full damnation, because I mean, you might as well. Exactly. How you did? So we did this off the air, but we'll do this on the air. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
Again, just super serious. This is a super serious conversation with a published science fiction novelist.
Put on my serious face.
That's right. Be really serious. Just kind of, you make sure like you're squeezing it in there, right? So it looks like you're trying hard at something. I don't know what exactly, but you know. I
got my dour face on.
Dour?
Yeah.
That's a nice word. Dour is a good word.
Pretend that I'm marking a paper. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, it would depend. See, I imagine as a teacher, if that is your day job, if it would depend on the student. Some students, it must be. I feel like marking papers is very much like editing, in that when it's good, you're like, yes, I love you.
Somebody got it.
Yes, and then when it's bad, it's like, oh God, what the hell went wrong here?
Yeah. So I am a teacher in my day job, and you're absolutely right. The good stuff is like yes, the bad stuff is like, oh my Lord. The problem is like the vast majority of it is like, meh. And so you just like hours of like, meh.
Hours of like mediocrity.
Yeah, you're like hours of like, well, that was okay. Didn't change my life. What time is it? I've only been doing this for 10 minutes? Oh my God.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What grade? What grade do you teach?
I actually teach at university. I'm a business professor at
Oh God! So when it's bad, it's really bad.
Yeah.
Oh God!
I joined the dark side.
Yeah. Holy cow! When it's good, it's good. I mean, the cool thing is when you have good writing, when it's essays, it can be very entertaining, and sometimes far more entertaining than actual fiction is.
Sometimes I'm like I think it's my fault. I'm like, I got to figure out how to make an interesting assignment so that when I read these things, it's interesting. Like sometimes you make an assignment, you're like, oh, why did I pick that? This is boring. I have to read 100 of these. Oh my God.
Yeah, but it's not entirely your say. I mean, I'm sure you have a course curriculum. I'm sure even in university, now you might have a little bit more leeway than say high school.
Yeah.
But you still got your own, like, okay, these people have paid good money to try and get a job. I'd like to actually make sure that they'd get one. You
still got to hit all. Yeah, you still got to hit the points. So sometimes the tough part is like presentation. So in business school, you got to make presentations, stuff like that. And like people will do a presentation, and you'll be like, they got an okay mark, and they'll be like, I only got whatever, a B or a C. Why didn't I get an A? I'm like, well, it wasn't very exciting.
Well,
communicated what you wanted to do, but I was like, I need more coffee.
I need more. Well, but see, that's. I think one of the cool. Like, I realized this about. I'd say actually about a year ago.
Yeah.
That presentations is just simply another form of storytelling.
It is. Have fun with it. And so, you know what? And it's weird, but like reports are as well.
Actually, you know what? I'll go even one step further. Everything on some level or another is storytelling.
That's true, except the grocery list.
Even a grocery list, you could probably figure out a way. You know, let's do it right now. Right? Let's do it right now. So what you do? Now you can do this a couple different ways. You can go like totally random. So you do the dartboard method. So you can just like randomly pick stuff up.
Yeah.
So you're in the produce section and be like, okay, I get radishes.
Yep.
The next thing you get orzata. Okay, cool. Why not? Yeah. The next one, squid. I don't know where this is going at this point, but I mean, now it's just like a mystery. Like, how bizarre can this possibly get?
And like the conflict almost writes itself.
Exactly. There's one way of doing it, right? Now, the other way you could do it too is like you do like a step-by-step guide to buying groceries, which is actually if you do it kind of like the instructional videos like Goofy did way back in the Disney cartoons.
Oh yeah.
You go that way with a grocery store. You could actually make that very entertaining.
Yeah, you could.
Yeah, right. You could. There's option 2, option 3. And this one's a little trickier. You have conflicts with the groceries you're buying. Like maybe the radishes don't like the lettuce, and the lettuce.
You already have a list for this.
Yeah. I know, I'm just making this up. I'm just totally BSing as I go. Right? But I mean, it just occurred to me, like, you could do it. Like, it can be done. Now, I'm not sure that this is the best use of my storytelling abilities. I would maybe write a novel. That would be
It might not be marketable. It might not be marketable.
I don't know. It's strange what's marketable today. Like, look,
yeah, that's true.
Let's be honest here. People pay money to watch people play games today. Like, think about that.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second.
Yeah, and open boxes that they get in the mail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're right.
Right, I mean, that's the world we live in today. So what marketable doesn't... I truly believe, this is the honest thing, the only truly marketable thing in this world is experiences.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think I hit that, and I'm like, you know what? Then maybe my goal shouldn't be... The product should be the byproduct of what I'm doing. I'm trying to create an experience every time I go out there, and if I do that, right, and the best way to do that is to tell a story.
Yeah, exactly. Right, we're storytelling creatures.
That's right.
Storytelling creatures.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a big giant epiphany to you, but I just felt like I learned something.
About turning grocery lists into storytelling?
Yes.
Oh, everything is a story? Everything is a story.
Yeah, I think so. It's just one of those things where it's just like, I would go so far as to say that I think the real thing about today is, I think I realize as I've gotten older and hopefully wiser, the jury's out on that one, but we'll for my ego's sake, I've gotten wiser.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Wiser than I used to be.
Yeah, hopefully. Sometimes, like, usually, like, pretty women are involved. I question that sometimes, but that's. I think that's every guy on that one. But it could be.
Right.
Yeah, I could be still generalizing too much. But anyways, the point I'm getting across is, it just, like, when I realized that's like, you know what, then every presentation you have, everything you do is an opportunity to tell a story.
Absolutely.
Right? So then the challenge then today is to get people aware that the story is going on around them. Yep.
See the stories in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
It helps you make sense of things if you can figure out the story behind it, or if you can turn it into a story.
Well, at least it'll help you cope.
Yeah.
It'll help you cope.
Yeah.
It'll help you cope.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, and I mean, so we do tell ourselves stories all the time, and I think there is power in that, because you make sense of that story in your own way, and you can tell yourself bad stories like, I'm broke, and I'm not very smart, and blah, blah, blah. Or you can tell yourself good stories like, I'm a scrappy little fighter, and stuff like that. And that totally, I think, has a huge impact on the directions and the choices that you make, and the directions that you take your life. I think, yeah, stories totally do have power. Like, we tell stories about our lives all the time, and that totally defines us in our heads and influences where we go.
Absolutely. I think the first person we have to buy into our stories is ourselves.
Yeah, Yeah, if we don't buy it,
then nobody else will.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, I think I'm learning something with this conversation. I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. But I mean, it sounds to me like maybe like going back to our topic of like teaching and presentation, right? I think one of the most valuable things you could do since you're teaching business is actually the value of storytelling in business.
Yeah, it's so true.
Well, because no one cares. Like, listen, no one cares about numbers. Let's be honest. Like, we care about like eating and having nice things when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
But a number doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, and I mean it's the story, and this is an actual business thing. Like, it's the story behind the number. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how did you come up with that number? What are the assumptions you made? What's going on? How did this happen? Stuff like that. I mean, it's the story behind the number that's important.
Yeah, absolutely. Like no one cares. Like 10 million sounds like a big number, but I don't really care. That might not have any context to me whatsoever. Yep. My day job, I work at what I call a sparkle muffin. A
sparkle muffin.
A sparkle muffin. That's right. I make fun of my day job quite a bit. I actually am. I was until very recently a physical laborer there. I'm right now doing maintenance there before I moved to BC, where your neck of the woods is.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm going out there. I'm trying to expand my horizons. I realize, like, for me, like there are points in our lives where we need to make changes.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm at that point in my life where I need to make some changes, and I recognize that.
Yep.
So I figure, I certainly have had my ass kicked in life once or twice before, so I'm not afraid of it anymore. So I figure might as well take a chance, see what I can get out there.
You're a scrappy fighter. You're a scrappy. You tell the story you tell yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a scrappy fighter. I'm a scrappy winner. I'm gonna screw the. Yeah. Let's go one step further. Like, don't damn yourself with the faintest of praise. Like earlier again, when you're talking about incriminating yourself big time. Hey, tell the best story you can. Like, I can win this battle. I can make this opportunity happen. I can do this. Because honestly, if you carry yourself a certain way, people notice.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So what? I've never heard of Sparkle Muffin. Is that the actual name?
No, it's not. It's my nickname for the place. So Liana Kersner did a video game series about the role of women in video games, and we talk about female tropes. One of them being Princess Toadstool, right?
Yep.
So she obviously, for legal reasons, can't use Princess Toadstool, so she came up with Princess Sparkle Muffin, and she played that, and she also played the wicked, like, queen, like the wicked like classic archetype. And they met and they started talking, and booze got involved. And somehow, some way, my day job, to me, when I think of a drunken hot mess, I think of that scene in particular because it cracks me up. And I associate that to some degree with my day job, because sometimes I wonder what my day job is doing, and I think sometimes they wonder what they're doing, and I'm not sure that's a good thing, but that's just how it seems to be. And I just, so it's really hard to be stressed out about a job when all you're saying is, when you just can look at it like a drunken hot mess. It's really hard. So it's one of those things where I'm not sure it's the healthiest way to look at a job, but it's...
Well, there's worse.
There's far worse, right?
There's far worse.
Yeah, there's far worse, right? But it's for me, it just, when I see the absurdities sometimes I see there, I just kind of go, this is how I cope with them, right? This is the story I tell myself, right, about this job and this place, and it fits. It honestly fits. When you get other coworkers laughing with you when you say that, they get it. It's like, oh my god, I get it.
Gotta laugh, otherwise I'd cry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right, and that's the thing, right? So when you have that kind of thing, it's like, wow, this isn't so out to lunch as you thought it was, and suddenly it just gives you a context. And then with everything I'm working on with my first novel coming out soon, it's like, well, you know what? I just kind of embraced this silliness, this zany, silly side of myself more and more.
Yeah.
And why not, right?
Let's have fun with it.
Yeah, life's too short, man. You gotta enjoy everything as much as you can. If you gotta be somewhere you don't necessarily want to be all the time, right? You gotta find a way to make the most of it.
Yeah, no, exactly. Sometimes what you need is a lesson.
Absolutely, no.
Sometimes what you need is a lesson.
Oh, that's it. And sometimes, like in my case, I just realized that where I was. I needed to take new lessons, and I'm, like I said, for the time being, I'm doing, like I said, maintenance there, because it's more about getting into good habits than it is about the job right now. Because when I get out there, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna look for something different, just to do something different. And
I think that's like you only got whatever 90 years on this world to do all the things, and so I think having this attitude that I'm going to get this job and I'm going to do this one thing for like 40 years, it's I don't know, it's this waste of potential. You got this one life to do all the things, so do all the things and learn stuff.
Yeah, well, and also, I mean, we don't live in a world of job security anymore. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. So, if it doesn't exist, there's no point in trying to cling on to a job for 40 years. Because it's not chances of it being there even 10 years. That's a feat in itself today, right? So
it's true. It's true. Gotta be flexible. An old boss of mine used to say a Swiss Army knife will always have a job.
Yes.
I thought that was like the best advice.
No, it's great advice, and like I said, for me, it's about growth and expansion, and about learning more about just what I can do. I've done like this podcast like in the last 2 years. I mean, I've run an award. I've figured out sponsorships for it. I'd like to see how far I can take it.
Yep.
I have storytelling aspirations, and like I said, for me now, I don't know what's going to happen when I get out there, but I just feel like out there I have a better shot using the skills I've acquired than say where I am now.
Yep. And so just to relate to you there, my initial background is in science. I used to be a science guy. I used to make drugs for a living, just in a garage in Surrey out here. No,
Hey,
wait, what?
I don't judge, man. I don't judge.
you wanted incriminating stuff to be fantastic. No, I used to work in the biotech industry. So I I was a science guy. I had a master's of science. I was like all that kind of stuff there, and now I teach business. And like, well, how the hell did that happen? And to be honest, like, I love my job, but this is the best job ever that I've ever had. And it just goes to show you, like, change happens, and it's not a scary thing, and that's how you learn, that's how you grow. I have students that I taught years ago. They go out in the business world after a few years. They're like, oh, I can't stand this anymore, and they make changes, like huge career changes to be happy and just to grow. I don't know. That's life is dynamic, right?
Well, life is fluid. That's the nature of, like, if I stop changing, I'm dead. That's it. I mean the only, if I stop changing, I've achieved perfection, and by perfection I mean I've stopped growing. This is as far as I'm going to come, and that right. So per another, one version of perfection is a final state. I'm 37. I definitely shouldn't be at my final state at this point in my life.
Oh, exactly.
Hell, at 87, I shouldn't be at my final state. I might wish for it to be my final state. We'll see how it happens when I get there. Yeah. But life is always about change. Life is always about growth. Life is always about, like, possibilities. And you have to put yourself in positions to try and change and try to move things and grow and see what's possible and fail. I mean, failure is a great change and a great teacher in its own right.
I know, absolutely. Tell that to my students. Tell that to me. But it's like there's this myth. There's a story that in our society that like we tell kids and we teach them this, and they grow up with this, that okay, you're going to go out, you're going to get a job, and then you got to get a job, and then that's going to be it. You get your job in your 20s and you've won, and then you just coast, and then you have the family and you have the house and blah blah blah. But you just, like, we teach people to plateau at in their early 20s, and then that's just it until they retire. And I mean, like, that's so tragic. Like, you shouldn't peak in your 20s. Like, that's just the start. That's just the start. You got a 40-year career. If you're going to retire at age 65, like, mix it up. If you're going, most people live to be 80, 90, 100 nowadays. Like,
well, there's that. I mean, it's also just a simple fact that it's not even like peaking. Like, I feel like for me, like, I'm 37 and I'm a whole lot smarter, a lot more at peace now than I was when I was in my 20s.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'm also a totally different person than I was in my 20s. And I'm going to be a different person when I hit when I'm 10 years from now. I'm going to be a completely different person again. Hopefully, a better one. That's my secret hope. But we'll see what happens. But I also think the biggest thing. I remember when I was growing up in high school, they were like, you had to worry about what was realistic, and the older I get, the less sure I am what that is. Do you know what realistic is in this world?
No. I mean, to be honest, I think like we tell young people you got to be realistic, but it's kind of like it's like be safe, play it safe. Like I think that's what we mean when we say that.
Yeah, well, like
own fear for their future.
Have a plan's good.
Yep.
Have a plan's good. It's just one of those situations where plans kind of go out the window sometimes. I mean, one of my favorite jokes is, how do you make God laugh? tell him your plans, because that never it's never going to go the way you think it goes. Yeah. I mean, you plan to be a scientist that made drugs for these companies, and now you're teaching business and inspiring kids to change the world in university.
Yeah.
Right? Not exactly where you plan to be.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So I mean, that's kind of how it goes, and it's the way it should be. I think sometimes our biggest flaw, especially I think people in Canada, is we tend to sell ourselves short, even in our plans.
Yeah, and it's funny, like, and again, it's the stories we tell ourselves. But I kind of think back to when I was in university. Like, I took the sciences because they were interesting. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, but I found this interesting, so I did that. And then I remember getting to the end of my bachelor's degree. I got a bachelor's degree in biochemistry of all things. And I was in Calgary, Alberta, right? Calgary, Alberta, Canada, oil capital of Canada. And I have this biochemistry degree, and I'm getting to the end of it, and I realize, like, I can't do anything with this. What the hell, what was I thinking? Like, there's no career for me in biochemistry in Calgary. And so I had this, I came to this decision point, like, well, what am I going to do? And the decisions that I was kind of facing at the time, like, one of them was, maybe I should go into education, go back to another degree in education, become a teacher, because I worked my way through university, teaching summer camps, and I loved it, and I had a passion for it. Or the other option was I could go get a master's degree in science, and I can go off and I can work in the biotech industry, and there might be a career path for me there if I did that. And I remember I was having these two choices, and why didn't I go into teaching? And if I'm being honest with myself, you have this attitude, people who can't do teach, and so I have that story in my head, and then I also had the story in my head, like I just spent 4 or 5 years learning science. It'd be like failing if I just stopped and I did something else. Like, that's the story I told myself, and so I went ahead and I got my master's of science, and I enjoy the science. I enjoyed that. I wouldn't give up those experiences, but I never loved them. I was never passionate about it. And I am about teaching, and I wandered away from my passion for like 10 years. It took me 10 years before I eventually turned around and got back to what I love doing. But I got away from it. Just these stories that you kind of tell yourself in your head. Sometimes you sabotage yourself, especially when you're young.
Well, I actually have a belief that when we're young, we're taught to build walls around ourselves, and when we get older, we have to learn how to tear them down.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Wait a second. None of this is true.
Yeah. Hey, wait! I built my prison. Oh, yeah. Crap.
Exactly.
Actually, ooh, that just gave me a good novel idea. Hey.
Hey.
I might actually write that story. That actually sounds really fun. But well, that's an aside. We'll get into that maybe off the air, but not on the air. But
symbolic.
Yeah.
Levels of meaning. Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, totally. No, it just. Well, I think honestly, good stories have many meanings.
Yeah.
Right. There's the literal meaning of the story. Yeah. Right. There's the themes of the story. And then there's like the characters in the story, and the fact that they all have their own stories. Yeah. Right.
And they're different faces of the theme, kind of different ways of exploring it, different reactions to it.
Yeah, if done well.
Yep,
If done well. If not done well. Or sometimes you just throw something in for comic relief.
Sometimes they're just the sparkle muffin.
That's right. They totally are a sparkle muffin. Liana is either going to love me or hate me for the fact I've spread this out as far as I have in my own way. I don't know. She might beat me someday. I was like, why did you do it like this? Because I'm sorry.
So come into my office. We got to talk.
Yeah, and I'll be like, I'm sorry. It was just too funny. It was way too funny.
Yeah, all publicity is good publicity.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, it's just one of those. It's one of those things where I just realized, like, as I've gotten older and older, I just find that most of the stuff that a lot that we're told matters when we're young doesn't really matter. Like,
that's true.
It doesn't. Well, the only, like, really, are you healthy? Are you living? I think happiness and joy are often confused. I think trying to be in a state of joy while pursuing happiness is a good thing.
Yep.
Right? Instead of just trying to be happy all the time, because that never works either. That's another trap sometimes, I think. But trying to be in a state of joy no matter where you're at, that's something I think that's very healthy. And are you around people that love you? That's it. I don't think there's much else in this life that's important.
Yeah. Putting bread on the table, as long as you got food in your tummy. Yeah, food in your tummy. Surrounded by people who love you.
Yeah, and a roof over your head's occasionally nice too. Although,
when it rains.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and from what I hear, going to Vancouver, I'm going to get used to the rain.
You're going to get used to the rain. You don't have to shovel it that often, so that's good. But
well, you know, I look at it kind of like it's going to be one of those situations where I'm going to be in a somewhat drearier place. Maybe, I don't know. I find that when I visited Vancouver, like people are still relatively very friendly there. So I hoping that my impression is right. There's something about visiting a place and living there. It is different.
Yeah, when you visit, you meet all the people in the tourist industry who are trying to get tips. Yeah.
Well, not even that. Like, okay, so for example, I like visiting Toronto. Visiting is nice.
Yeah.
You could not pay me enough money to live there. I couldn't do it. Like I would go.
No offense, Torontonians.
No, honestly, no. It just is not. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, certain cities are built for certain people.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
Yeah. And Toronto is just not built for me. It was built for somebody else, and that's cool. I'm a big enough man to admit that Toronto is not for me. Right. That all said, right. I don't mind visiting Toronto. Toronto's a nice place to visit. So.
And I enjoy Vancouver. I've been out here for, I don't even know how long anymore, almost 15, 20 years. And I'm enjoying it. And so it does rain in the wintertime. That is true. What I find, though, is that it'll rain in the morning and then it'll stop in the afternoon and then it's all right in the afternoon. Often, like you'll get some times there'll be spells where it'll like rain for a week straight. But yeah, usually you get some rain in the morning, then it's fine in the afternoon, and well, that's all right.
Yeah.
Better than minus 20, minus 30. I remember in Alberta, everybody was always like, sure, but it's, but blue skies, it's minus 30, but it's blue skies. And I'm always like, it's minus 30, I'm not outside, I'm inside hunkering down.
And also somehow the sun makes it colder, and I've never understood that.
Yeah, I know. Reverse physics.
Yeah. It's like, why is it working like this? You're actually closer to me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
No, it's true. It's the absolute truth. Like during the wintertime, the sun is actually closer to Calgary than it is any other time of the year, and it is unbearably cold.
Yeah, physics. Leave it to the physicists.
That's right, Hayden.
Oh yeah, you're listening.
Yeah, you probably will listen to this one because I mean you do publish books for him.
Well, he publishes books for me.
Yes. He publishes books for you, but I mean, you are one of his authors, so I would imagine. I would imagine that he would want to do this out of support. He is that kind of guy. So
yeah, he's a nice guy.
He really is. He really is. All right, I think the biggest surprise when I met him is like, and I'm sure he'll listen to this. If you listen, he'll emphatically deny us. He's actually a really sweet dude.
Yeah.
Right, he's actually really sweet. The first time I met him, we only had 15 minutes to chat, and I really felt bad about it because it was like we were having a good conversation, and he just did not have the time. It's just the way it was. At the Auroras last year, I got to chat both him and his wife. Liz is awesome too, and
it's a wonderful couple.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I love their interactions together are hilarious. They
have such a passion for writing. Like Hayden has such a passion for science fiction. Like it's I don't know. It's fun to actually meet people who are like that, who actually share that kind of a passion with you.
Well, it's just passion period is just awesome to see when someone's genuinely into something.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing ever. It really is because that you can tell that the person's invested. Like whatever you're interested, doesn't even matter what the interest is. Actually, just that it's that. They're there. They're 100% there. It's almost like, remember how I was saying about building walls? There's no walls. Yeah. It's just a person truly enjoying something for the sake of joy.
Yeah, they're just sailing, yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It's so cool. And like I said, in Hayden's case, Liz's case, Liz loves the short story form. I love how passionate she is with that. Yep. I'm sorry I'm popular. But... I love her passion there. Hayden is, obviously very passionate because he has a publishing house that promotes the kind of fiction he loves.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. And he's helped a lot of writers like Gerald Brandt and yourself, and I'm a big fan of Jennifer Ron personally as a human being. She's amazing, and I'm sorry I'm gushing about everybody, but you will give you some love before it's over.
That's all right.
It's okay. Stay there. But it's cool that how genuine they are. It makes it when I do see them. I enjoy that. I enjoy their company. They're just that. Genuineness is truly, I think, a rare thing. The one cool thing about me doing what I'm doing is I get a lot of it more often, simply because it's just about people just talking about stuff they love.
Yeah, and the cool thing about talking to writers is the only people who write are people who love writing, right? So they're all passionate about it. Like that's the only writing can be really hard and lonely sometimes, and can be really frustrating, and you only do that if you're passionate about it. So talking to writers, they're like every single one of them. They're like, this is the best thing ever.
It is. It really is. So I gotta ask, since you write science fiction, which, considering what you told me about your background, it seems like the perfect compromise between your science education and your exploration of your patterns. Yeah. What'd you like reading as a kid?
What was it? What did I want to be as a kid?
No. What did you like reading as a kid? Although you can answer that question too. That would also be interesting.
When I was a kid, I wanted it to be a grown-up. Yeah, no. I read... So I started... When I was a kid, I probably started off in sci-fi, and then I, sort of in my teen years, I probably shifted into fantasy. So it was probably a lot of fantasy, a lot of sci-fi, things like that. That's probably most of the books that I read when I was a kid would probably fall into those two genres.
So, let me think. I should dare ask this. How old are you?
Oh, yeah.
3,200. No.
Yeah, 2012. I'm a vampire. No, I read cuneiforms when I was a child. Wow. No, I'm 47. I'm 10 years older than you. So where do you want to be 10 years? I am right now.
Okay, so let's see. So for you, that would be Asimov as a teenager.
Yep.
All right, maybe Roger Zelazny. Maybe.
I did. I loved the Amber series.
Oh, Amber rules. Amber's amazing.
Favorite of mine.
Let's see. Ursula Le Guin, definitely a possibility.
I'm a big fan of hers as well.
Yeah. Maybe Anne McCaffrey. Like she's definitely. I'm not gonna say it's a dislike. She kind of faded for a bit there, and then she came back in the '90s, which that might have been when you hit your fantasy phase. So I don't know if you read her or not.
I actually haven't. She's a big name, and so I got to get her on my list.
Okay, all right. Let's see now. Fantasy. Let's see. '90s. We're gonna go Robert Jordan.
You know what? I did. Yes, I did. I've only read. I have to admit, full disclosure, I've only read part of The Wheel of Time. I got halfway through, and then I couldn't make it. But he's written a bunch of other stories too. He
wrote Conan, which is really cool.
I was going to say, you're going to think less of me, but he wrote Conan, and I've read all of those. I've read all of his Conan stories, so make of that what you will.
Well, Conan's cool. Conan's. Well, I listen. I'm still collecting the Conan comic.
Yeah. It's like turn the brain off. Oh, Conan smash.
Well, Conan. Okay, Conan. The thing I figured out Conan's appeal. There's two reasons. He's uncompromisingly honest.
Yeah.
That's the one thing about Conan as a character. No matter what situation, I mean, don't get me wrong. The story beats do get very repetitive, right? Because up until he becomes the king. It's the same story. He goes to steal a treasure. He is wanted by the law, or he's trying to go on a quest. He's doing one of those three things. Along the way, he gets exposed to some really either fantastical fortune or fantastical disaster. Usually, occasionally with a member of the opposite sex, which he usually ends up sleeping with, but usually she dies, unless it's Janissa or Red Sonja. Right. In which case, they sometimes outsmart him. Right, but in the end, whatever he gets, he loses. Right, that's it. That's Conan in a nutshell.
Yep.
Right, but there is a certain honesty to the character.
Yeah, he doesn't have a lot of nuance or subtlety about him.
Yeah, well, he's clever. I think a lot of people underestimate how clever he is.
True, yeah.
But the thing about him is he's just uncompromising. I am who I am, and I'm going to be who I am, whether you like it or not. And if you don't like it, that's fine. I'll kill you. And that sounds really simple and very, very like I've always preferred how nuanced say Tarzan was over Conan. Yeah. But that all said, I can respect people that dig Conan because he's a cool character. He's a cool character, and honestly, one of the most uncompromising in fiction.
Yep, you know where you stand with him.
But hey, you gotta respect that.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta respect that. I mean, that's so. I don't fault you. And Robert Jordan wrote Conan. He really did. So
and he did a good job of it too. I thought.
Yeah. No. It's like I'm not gonna like Ron Howard did it better, but maybe that's about it.
Yeah.
Right. And so I can't argue that. I will say this: The Wheel of Time is worth as much of it. Although it's all out now, it is worth reading to the end.
I keep hearing that. I got to break down and do that one of these. I got a good friend who's like just super into fantasy, and she's getting me all these fantasy books, and I think she would be thrilled if I actually just broke down and finally did actually read the whole thing. So.
Well, okay. So from today's fantasy, I love Fonda Lee. She's fantastic. Leah Bardugo, really, really, really good stuff. I really like that stuff. Cool. If you like that combination of science fantasy, I recommend Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman's Illuminate Files. I just love how the book's designed. They're young adult, but they're coolly designed books. Yeah, okay. And this way they tell the story. Going back to presentation and storytelling, it's unique, even unto itself, and I really dig. I like it when authors and take chances in book design to tell their stories.
Yeah.
Right? That's not done enough, I think. The interesting thing about science fiction, I think, traditionally, although it talks about some cutting-edge ideas, they don't always present them as cutting-edge as they could be.
Not always. I think there's a couple of authors out nowadays that do, I think, that do kind of have fun with it. As you were talking about sort of the interesting ways of presenting a story, I was just thinking, I can't pronounce it, Gnomon, Gnomon, by Nick, what's his name, Nick Harkaway or something like that. It's a recent novel. I just read it in the last month or 2 months or something like that. But again, it's like a totally different way of telling a story, and it was really cool. Interesting. I found.
You should Facebook me that title when we're done, because
I can't pronounce it, and you won't be able to spell it from how I mangle the word.
That'll help. Yeah, and that might actually when your episode airs, whenever this airs, we'll get and do that. No, it's just one of those situations where, again, I'm looking what's possible today. The other cool thing about living in today's age is, okay, my novel is called The Cloud Diver. It's about a very cowardly character that follows a girl and gunmate in the cloud, and he gets a file that everybody from zombie mobsters to unicorns that fart rainbows wants. Right? And it's science. It's an old school pulp novel, but it's done with modern sensibilities. And also homage to video games I liked as a kid.
Fun.
Yeah, exactly. That was the goal. That was totally the goal. Have fun with it, right? And as a result, I was looking at different ways of presenting the story. Among them, everything from social media feeds to the cover itself, which you can see the cover if you ever want to look at it. It's on my Facebook profile, so you can look at it that way. But it's one of those situations where I look at what's like I have a lot more control over what a book looks like now. So now I can add layers to it, especially the fact that now we present things electronically as well. And it's like, right, well, so now I'm thinking, okay, how can I do this differently? How can I stand out? Because I don't feel it's been fully tapped into yet.
No, I don't think we fully, we're still, I don't think we're truly utilizing we haven't figured out how to truly utilize, I think, a lot of the technologies that we have to do story. We're using the technologies in the old ways, we're using you're doing old things using the new technologies, but I think there's opportunities to create new ways that we haven't quite figured out yet.
Absolutely. Well, that's it. That's it. Totally. And I think and I'm going to try to play with that. I want my novel to read a little bit like a video game. Hopefully, it succeeds. Yeah. Hopefully, or maybe I just don't know what I'm doing. I'm probably okay with that too.
Yeah. just sometimes you just got to swing.
Well, I think we always have to. I think that's the one thing. Again, that's one of the other things I've realized as I've gotten older is you gotta keep swinging for the fences. And I think the older you get, there has to be a little bit more urgency with each swing. Not because you don't know how many more times you're gonna get up at the bat. Not to be dim and dour. It's just I think it's just reality. I mean, again, I'm never going to be those first 36 years of my life, 37 years of my life. I'm not going to get back.
Yeah.
Right? So, you're 38, I had to make as many different swings count. You're 39, same thing. You're 40, same thing.
Yeah.
Right? And because I'm hoping I get bigger opportunities at the bat, at the same token, I also know that there's going to come a point where, well, until the world recedes me, right, that I have to make more and more of these things count.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I sound wise. I don't know. I try.
Write that down.
Yeah, right. I'll write that down. Yeah, something like that. Well, Brad.
Yes.
I think we have an interview here. What do you think?
That sounds like we might.
Yeah. Did you have fun?
This was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Hayden, if Hayden is listening, he's probably gnashing his teeth because we haven't said the name of the book yet.
Well, we're getting to that part now.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah. No, see, what I do is I don't know how much of the show you listen to. We have a conversation about anything and everything, and then at the very end, I go to you.
Oh yeah.
By the way, you have a book out, and how can people find you? And then you answer like.
Hey, I've got a new book out. It's called Do a Tarot. You can buy it online. You can buy it through Bundorian Press if you want a hard copy. That's Hayden's the publishing company. That's the guy we've been talking about. You can get e-versions on Kindle and Kobo and all those other kinds of things. It's a fun story. I don't know. It's not fun. It's a story about.
Your log line needs some work here.
Yeah, I know I'm not good at marketing. It's how do we face the unknown, the choices we make when we don't know what to do. How do we navigate those types of things? So it takes place on a colony for a future that's been abandoned. Human civilization on this colony is under threat. It's in decline. People don't know why, and it's how do people kind of face this unknown? Like, why is this happening? How do we deal with this? What's going on? Sort of dealing with those types of issues. So that's the story, Do a Tarot. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about it or a little bit more about me, I got a website, bradanderson2000.com, because apparently there are 2,000 of us. And you can find me on Facebook as well. Facebook, Brad Anderson, something like that, 2000.com as well. Yeah.
That's it? No Twitter, Instagram, or anything like that?
Yeah, I don't really do Twitter. I have a Twitter account. I think it's like Brad Anderson 5, but I don't.
It's more like you pretend that you have one, but you only pretend to use it.
I've tried every time I try to use Twitter, I'm like, I don't know. It does certain, I think, social medias resonate with certain people, and Twitter never resonated with me. I'm more of a Facebook person. I like Facebook pictures, stories, things like that.
There's nothing wrong with being a Facebook person. Nothing wrong. I'm just saying. Just I just figured make sure we get them all out there because that's my job here. So we've had the conversation. So now I have to promote you as much as I can here. So
Fantastic.
yes. All right. So is there anything else, or did we cover everything?
I think. Well, we covered a lot.
We did.
We covered a lot. It was fantastic.
All right. Well, thank you.
Time flies.
Time flies. All right.
This episode of Just Joshing is sponsored by Indie Imprint. Indie Imprint supports creators by creators. Whether you are writing a book or creating a video game, Indie Imprint works with its clients to produce, edit, and present their projects to the world. For more information, check out their website at www.indieimprint.com.
And that was my conversation with Brad Anderson. Definitely check out his works, courtesy of Under Impress. Brad, man, thanks for being on my show. You are welcome back anytime. And really, there's not really too much else to say at this moment in time. I've been, like I said, it's been an interesting journey so far in British Columbia. What I feel like right now, if people want to just hear the update, is I'm kind of just waiting. I'm putting stuff out there. I'm seeing what comes back to me, and I'm just going for everything I can. This is a process, and one of the things that's in my head is this is a whole process, a whole thing. When you make the decision to change everything, it doesn't just happen overnight. Everything takes a time. Everything takes a process. Sometimes it grates. Sometimes it does kind of grate a little bit because you kind of go, I want to get to the next thing now. But you gotta take steps, and you gotta get after it, and that's what all I've been doing for the last little bit, which is why you haven't heard too much yet. But as usual, I'm knocking on doors. Some things open, some things don't, and you just keep swinging, and that's all you can do. So hopefully, this is early this year. I mean, I feel like although these 2 months have kind of gone by pretty quick, it's been kind of a whirlwind. Just to go. Because the way I look at it is, I got 10 more months to really make the impact I want. So I'm taking that seriously. I'm not in my head. I'm not here to beat it around the bush. I am just here to do what I'm supposed to do for in the time I have, and I'm treating this time very preciously. So that's what I'm doing. But that's it for now. There will be hopefully more cool things to say later. But for now, that'll do it for this episode of Just Joshing. If you want to support the podcast, you can do so a number of different ways. Subscribe to the podcast. I'm on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Podomatic, lots of other players as well. Leave a review, comment, share it, let people know I'm out there. My sponsor, Indie Imprint. Definitely check them out, indieimprint.com. The games Get Your Ass to Mars. Check them out. Merrill Publishing. My books, Watch Your Storm Dance to Wandering God, are available there. You can definitely check them out. My merchandise is at jpenteloresco.redbubble.com. My YouTube channel is Joshua Penteloresco. Let's see. And my Twitter and Instagram is at jpenteloresco. My Facebook page is Joshua Penteloresco, author, podcaster. Stay inspired. Keep going for it. And I'll see you guys next time.
Josh.